What's up, good people? Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's doing good. And I have to say, um, football is unhealthy for me. Football is literally unhealthy for me because I go crazy with the snacks. Okay, I lose my mind because we get the big sub, and that just all of a sudden makes the cravings for going to McDonald's and sodas and everything else. Here's what's crazy, and I'm not going to say I haven't really done keto, so I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't really done keto, but between working at the Red Brick House, cutting the sodas down to a minimum, I do have one from time to time as a treat. Um, Eating more vegetables and cutting out a lot of the sugar because I was eating I was getting hangry. Watching the Cowboys, I got hangry, and not to mention the alcohol too. I went from 278.8 to today I was 257.4. Okay, now I've always carried. Look, I'll be honest with you. I've always carried a bit in the middle, even when I was like in college. It's just that's it. But you look here, there ain't no fat on there. Look, there ain't no fat. There's no fat. There's no womp womp womp. So that's what I'm doing. I'm cooking some chicken and stuff to take on the road because tomorrow we'll be back at the Red Brick House. Um, Interesting thing going on here with the Cowboys, with them boys. As things begin to ramp up. We've heard Brandon Cooks talking about how good Dak Prescott is, and having him work with some great quarterbacks like Tom Brady. You take that and say, okay, he's seen good quarterbacks. He's seen some bad ones too, with Davis Mills. Yeah, you want to see my chicken? Look at this. I tell you what, you can't beat my herb chicken. I use some grill mates, okay, seasoning, a little bit of Cajun, slap your mama, some lime juice, and some dill, and get this thing real good and hot. And I tell you what, it will be juicy. It'll be juicy. Juicy. They call it juicy chicken. But we got this love fest going on with Brandon Cooks, and he's talking about how good Dak is and everything else, and it's work ethics, which you like to hear about. And then you hear Dak talking about Brandon Cooks, the different speed. It's a different speed, as in he got an extra gear. And so you're looking at this and saying, okay, these things sound great. And now we got Schottenheimer. Schottenheimer is literally like, I love you, man. He's like, I love Dak Prescott. I love his work ethics. I love, basically he's just like, literally, I love everything about him. Now, I hope, because what I find funny is how many people are always saying Dak Prescott sucks. I'm old enough to remember when people talked about Dak Prescott couldn't carry Carson Wentz's jockstrap. That Carson Wentz was a real quarterback, and Dak Prescott, well, he was a fourth-round pick. Carson Wentz is coming to the realization that I'll take anything right now. I don't have to be a starter. I'd like to be a starter, but right now I just like to be on a team. Amazing that turnaround, isn't it? Now, Jared Goff, he kind of turned his season around. Turned his career around last year with the Lions. He definitely came back and said, okay, I'm a former number one pick. I'm going to at least be here and do something. Carson Wentz, man, wow. With as many quarterback needy teams, the fact that Carson Wentz is still out there is still amazing to me. It's just, people are just like, that dog just don't hunt. Yeah, that dog just don't hunt. That the Commanders basically said, we'll take a late round drafted quarterback and a journeyman quarterback, and we'll be all right without you, Carson. Yeah. I'm rethinking back to the Walter, I think it was the Walter Football Report. And it was crazy because They did like a whole page on Jared Goff, did like almost a whole page on Carson Wentz. They talked about, damn, I can't. It's so bad now that you can't remember. Paxton Lynch, they did almost like 3/4 of a page and things. A guy the Cowboys were talking about wanting to trade up for, right? And when you finally got to Dak Prescott, they basically had a paragraph in there that said, basically, if you need a backup quarterback, look at that. Dak Prescott's the guy for you. But he was, I believe, 7th on the list. 7th. And here it is. One Dakota Prescott has been paid and is still standing and has Cowboy records. And I dare say, if Dak Prescott pays, I think, 2 more years, he'll pretty much own almost every Dallas Cowboy record. I'm curious, if Dak Prescott gets 1 Super Bowl, let's say just 1, and he owns every Dallas Cowboy record, what will history say about Dak Prescott? Say what you will about Dak. I'm going to say, and I'll say Dak and Tony Romo, I'm going to say there's only one team since the 90's that I say had the kind of talent that the Cowboys had during the 90's and during the 70's. And I'll say that was the 2007 Dallas Cowboy team that had 13 Pro Bowlers. That was a great team that really should have gone all the way. You could say the 2014 team was really good. That defense was not. That defense was like 19th. Not a great defense. Great offense. Tony Romo had some great offenses. But we never had a complete team. This may be the closest thing to a complete team right now for the Dallas Cowboys. You start looking at it, the offensive line is still lacking. I think a lot will depend on the season that Tyler Smith has, the recovery for Terrence Steele, and what happens with Tyron Smith. Zach Martin's going to be great. And what happens, of course, at left guard. Whether Mr. Igato can really hold down the fort and at least play above average. But you look at least at CeeDee Lamb, you look at Brandon Cooks, you look at Dak. We're not quite there with the running backs like we used to be, but we potentially have really good ones. But this is probably one of the more talented teams that we've had since the 90's. Definitely. Still might take the 2007, but we'll see how all this goes. But you can't argue with Micah Parsons, Diggs, CeeDee Lamb, Dak in there, Cooks, Zach Martin. You have a lot of premier players actually on this roster. But anyway, good. Look at that. But the premier players have never been the problem for the Cowboys. The problem has been the backups and the under players. So we'll see. We'll see how all that goes. I'm gonna get this finished cooking, and then got me some clam chowder that I made. So that way I got food for tomorrow. Got to get the truck loaded up for tomorrow. Got our live stream at 9 o'clock, and we're gonna handle business. Keep doing that stuff and taking it one day at a time. I'm Mark Holmes, and well, I'm gonna keep on working on getting this weight off. And for those out there, that just love to watch everything I do and basically say it's a lie, I appreciate the views. In the grand scheme of things, you're always trying to hurt me, But since you watch every minute of every single show that I do, every video, you're actually helping the algorithm. So I appreciate that, bro. See you tonight. Look at that chicken. Ooh, look. You see that? You see that? Look at that juice. Just look. Oh, that's juicy. That's juicy chicken. Mm. Boy, I'd love to have me like a nice bun. Ooh. With some ghost pepper, mango hot sauce, and mayonnaise on that sucker. Some lettuce and tomato. Ooh, I'm sitting here drooling just thinking about that. But can't do that bread. That's a lot of carbs. That's a lot of carbs. All right, peace.